Department's investigation into the shooting death of Michael Brown, as well as our investigation into allegations of unconstitutional policing patterns or practices by the Ferguson Police Department, remain ongoing.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you aboard the Steve Malzberg Show. That's Attorney General Eric Holder speaking yesterday. Disgraceful as always. The civil rights investigation, the Justice Department investigation into Michael Brown's death still ongoing. And of course, he also mentions that unconstitutional acts, an investigation into those on the part of the Ferguson Police Department still ongoing. He should have mentioned that the George Zimmerman civil rights investigation is still ongoing, because it is. What this man should say, instead of inciting, not inciting to violence, but inciting or getting up, I should say, hopes that will lead to future problems and future violence, when it's announced by this Justice Department probably 2 years from now that, guess what, there will be no charges against Darren Wilson because there was no civil rights violation. He knows that now, in my opinion. He should say it now, get it over with. No, this allows them to drag it out, and citing was the wrong word, but raising expectations, getting hopes up, and then at the end, knowing full well now there's no hope, and then at the end you spring it on the community and say, oh, well, there was nothing there. That's going to cause problems, and I believe in my heart that Eric Holder knows that. Do you know the bar that has to be reached for a police officer to file civil rights charges against a police officer? You're going to prove that Darren Wilson set out with the intent of killing Michael Brown, like when he pulled up in the car, he was going to kill him, he knew it? Come on, this is ridiculous. It's a sham, it's a game, and it's a dangerous game. But it's not really a game, in my opinion. It's a plan. It's a plan. Why can't you just tell these folks, if you don't want to tell them the investigation's closed because it's not, say, but I have to tell you, even though the investigation's ongoing, it's a very high bar to reach. Why don't you throw that in? Why do you give them that false hope? And while you're at it, why don't you say, hey, you know something? Never hit a police officer. Never. Never attack a police officer. And always obey a police officer. No, those words will never cross the lips of Eric Holder, our chief law enforcement officer in the nation, and of course the ultimate chief law enforcement officer, Barack Obama. They couldn't say it if their lives depended on it. They couldn't spit the words out. Never hit a police officer. Always respect a police officer. Police officers are there for your protection. They put their lives on the line. They can't get the words out. Now, you know who you should be prosecuting, Eric Holder, or whoever would be in charge of this? The stepfather of Michael Brown. This is in the news today because the police chief of Ferguson has indicated yesterday to Sean Hannity on Fox, said, yeah, we're looking into possible prosecution of the stepfather of Michael Brown. We played you that video over and over again. As the grand jury announcement was made, he was standing and he said, let's burn the bitch down. Burn the bitch down. And then, of course, there were fires, and there were riots, and there was looting. And I have heard, of course, from Sonny Hostin on CNN and other people on CNN and elsewhere, well, even if there's some legal justification for prosecuting him, you can't do that. That's insensitive. He was a grieving stepfather. You can't, it would inflame the community. Really? Really? So we think so little of black people in that community and maybe around the nation, I don't know, that if a black man commits a crime and it's obvious, you can't prosecute him? Because now we're afraid of what the black community will do? Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe they're going on some factual basis here because, as I recall, Michael Brown was seen committing a crime. And we know from the testimony and the forensics that he attacked a cop. He fought with a cop. He fought for the gun. The gun went off. And yet, we've seen what's happened in Ferguson and around the country. So maybe I'm sorry to say they're onto something. Now, when I say blacks or the black community, I know that the majority of blacks in this country have to understand and do understand that Michael Brown was wrong. He was wrong. And that this nut job, in my opinion, of a stepfather telling people to, in my opinion, inciting them to riot and burn things down, which things got burnt down, whether it was a result of his words or not, that's wrong. But if you're going to be afraid of the reaction of a few more thugs, and therefore you won't prosecute a thug, then we've lost control of our country. The panel is next. Don't go away.